All right, you real estate stars, this is David McCullough with your information security technology class, and I just want to show you how to turn on Bitlocker on your Windows computer. Now you have to remember that you need Windows 10 Pro to get this to work. There are versions of Windows 7 and 8 that'll work, but as I mentioned in another video, you should just go ahead and update or upgrade to Windows 10 Pro because it's going to give you all the feature set that you really need to do all the security stuff we talk about. Unfortunately, I don't have a Windows 10 Pro computer, the one I'm recording on, so I've got a virtual machine here that's Windows 8.1. And the steps are exactly the same. It's just a matter of where they store things, but it's primarily the same thing. So we'll go through the steps and we'll show you how to turn this thing on and get it going. All right, so first thing is, I typed into the search bar here on Windows 8, Bitlocker. And I got Manage Bitlocker. I clicked on that, and then this screen came up. What you do here is it'll list all the drives that you can turn Bitlocker on with, and in this case, this is a virtual machine, so it only has one drive. But if there are other drives, you'd be able to turn Bitlocker on for those as well. Now, there's a removable device Bitlocker called Bitlocker to Go. So if you're plugging in flash drives and that kind of thing, you can actually use Bitlocker to encrypt those and make them much safer. So just a little tip there. But for this video, we're going to just deal with the Bitlocker on the C drive, as you can see here. And it says it's off and wants to know if I want to turn it on. So I'm going to try to turn it on, and oh no, I get this warning that says this device cannot use a trusted platform module. Well, that is also short version of that. It's called a TPM, and it's a chip on your computer. Not all manufacturers do it, but it's designed to be a hardware encryption device that works with Bitlocker. So we don't have that on many of our computers, so I'm going to show you how to turn that off so that you can use Bitlocker on it with a password instead. So let's go back up here to the search bar and let's click on that, and then we'll type in GPEdit. And GPEdit stands for Edit Group Policy. And I just learned that you need to be connected to the internet for this to work. I don't know why, but I tried to do it when my internet was down and didn't work. So that's kind of interesting because it should be just a computer application. So that was very strange. I didn't get this up. May mean nothing, but I thought I'd throw it out there. So we're going to click on Edit Group Policy, and we're going to get this really crazy looking window with lots of settings in it. And the only thing you need to be concerned about is one setting. So let's go find it. Up here in Local Computer Policy on the left-hand side, I want you to go down to Computer Configuration, right below that. Then go to Administrative Templates. And every time I click one here, it will open up the subfolders over here. So I can actually click them either here, or I can use this little triangle to open them up here to continue to drill down. So I'm just going to do it over here. The next folder under Administrative Templates is going to be Windows Components. I'll just open that one up. And then the next thing, in fact, I'm just going to click on this so you can see both ways. Click on Windows Components so that it opens up over here. And now I'm going to double click on Bitlocker Drive Encryption here. And then I'm going to go to Operating System Drives, double click. And now what I'm seeing here are a bunch of settings applications. So there's, I made a little mistake in a class with someone once, and I had clicked the wrong one, or set the settings on the wrong one of these shortcuts. But these are shortcuts to apps. This one says require additional authentication at startup. This one says require additional authentication at startup Windows Server 2008 and Vista. This is the one I clicked on accidentally and then couldn't figure out why I couldn't enable Bitlocker. So don't make that mistake. The one above it that stops at the word startup is the one you want. Double click on it. Go up here to these radio buttons on the left, click enabled, and then make sure that this checkbox is checked that says allow Bitlocker without a compatible TPM. And then click apply, OK, and you can, I'm just going to minimize this in case I need to go back, but you can close that generally speaking. Now I should be able to turn on Bitlocker. So I'll click on this link again. Now it's verifying some things. And it says, okay, great, we got past that screen before that told us we couldn't do it. And now it's asking us, do you want to use a USB flash drive or do you want to enter a password? Well, I would recommend if you have a Windows account where you put in an email address and a password when you upgraded to Windows 10 or Windows 8 has it, where you're actually signing into your Windows account when you start your computer up, then you already have a Windows account. Or if you have a Hotmail or any of those, Outlook.com, any of those kind of email addresses, you can use the password, which is what I prefer. So I'm going to click on password, and then I'm just going to choose a password and make it match. Half the time I do that wrong. And it says it should be a strong password that uses uppercase and lowercase, numbers, symbols, and spaces. Well, we had this discussion in class about length being more important than this stuff here for the average user. And maybe throw in one number or something like that. But a long, memorable passphrase with maybe a number or two thrown in. But something you can remember, such as, my dog's name is Lady Jane and I love her a lot. That's the example I use in class. And I might throw in something like, my dog's name 7 is Lady Jane and I love her a lot. That makes it exponentially harder for anyone to crack that very long passwords, particularly because there's a number thrown in there in an unknown place. So the brute force method of cracking passwords like that is not worth the effort, and so they'll move on to easier targets. At any rate, I chose a smaller, cheaper one today just for demonstration purposes that I know I will remember, and I can undo this if I want to. So I'm going to hit next. And now it's going to say, what do you want to do with your recovery key? Because if I ever forget that key, where can I get it? Well, I could save it to my Microsoft account, which is what I recommend. Save it to a USB flash drive, which you could lose. Save it to a file, which could get corrupted if your computer blows up. Or print it to a recovery key, which would be, a piece of paper. But you don't want that kind of stuff laying around because we've talked about that in class. So this is probably the safest just because it's going to be encrypted on Microsoft servers. So now it's saving to the account and it says your recovery key has been saved. So now I know that if I need to get my recovery key, I can go to my Microsoft account and get it. So I'm going to click next. And then it says, how much of your drive do you want to encrypt? So we'll have a quick discussion on this decision. If you have a brand new PC and you haven't used it much, most of your files are what's known as contiguous, or they're stacked up right next to each other on the hard drive. If you do that, you can use the encrypt used disk space only. If you've had your PC for a while and you don't do much in the way of maintenance, or you have a really big hard drive, like 500 gigabytes or bigger, go ahead and use the entire drive, but it's going to take longer. And anything new that you add to your hard drive will be encrypted, so you don't have to worry about using this one initially. It'll encrypt anything new you add to the drive, but it's going to be quicker for the first round getting it done. And since we're real estate agents and we're very busy, you probably don't want to be sitting around all day, unless you have all day at some point to do this. So we'll click on next, and then it says run Bitlocker system check. It just wants to make one last run to see if everything is going to work and our key has been saved and all this fun stuff. So we're going to say go ahead and continue, and then it's going to tell me to restart. I'm going to go ahead and cut the video off here, and I'll come back after I've restarted this and we'll continue. Okay guys, I am back, and this is the first screen I see when the computer's restarted. So what I'll do is put in my Bitlocker password and I'll click enter. Now your Bitlocker password should be different from your Windows password. So, pick something long and memorable and encrypt your hard drive with that. And then when you get past that, you'll get to your Windows screen to log in. And keep in mind that the Bitlocker process encrypts the drive, and so what you're doing is you are actually unlocking the hard drive, and that's the first password you put in. Then you'll get to your Windows screen, and I have a completely different password for my Windows screen. And in Windows 8, they kind of forced you to use your email as a login, so that's why it's set up this way. So once I get past this now, I should get back to my Windows desktop. And what you'll see typically here, once this gets caught up, is that, waiting for it, here it is, encryption paused, okay, because I had made a mistake earlier and I paused the encryption. So what I'm going to do now is click for more information and to resume, and now it's encrypting the drive, and that little balloon normally would just say encrypting the drive now. So it's going to see this right here. So just let that happen in the background. You can go ahead and use your computer at that point. It might be a bit slower, but the encryption will be taking place in the background. And once it's done, it's done. Then anything new that you save to your computer or any changes you make to your computer will be added to the encryption of the drive. So no need to worry about it once it's done. You can turn Bitlocker off by going back to the same screen where you turned it on, and it'll decrypt everything, and you'll be back to an unencrypted hard drive. Don't know why you'd want to do that, but you never know. So as you can see, it's making good progress here, but that's because I have a very small hard drive on this virtual machine, so there's not much there to encrypt. Yours could take several hours, just depends on how big your computer hard drive is. So that's it. I hope that was helpful, and we'll see you around.